Getting ready to go, getting everything set up. Got a great night tonight. We got our first player guest on tonight. SEC Player of the Year, 35th pick of the draft. Brent Rooker. Really excited about that. So I am just checking the feeds, making sure everything is good. We're going to let everybody roll in. We're going to call Brent. Hopefully he'll pick up, and we will be going. Should be a good conversation. Should be a good night to talk to our first player on here. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll let everybody roll in on Periscope, Instagram. If you're on Periscope and Instagram and Twitter, make sure you retweet this. Make sure you share this on your feed. If you're watching on Facebook Live, be sure to share it. This is for sure going to be a good talk. If you miss any of the talks, certainly you can go back and watch those on my YouTube channel. I post those every week after they're over. You can watch the Periscope feed for 24 hours. Going to give it a few more minutes, let everybody roll in, and give a few retweets, and then hopefully we will have a big audience to get going here. Certainly this show's been growing, so I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you sharing, getting good feedback, getting a lot of DMs about the guest. If you've been a guest, I really appreciate you coming on, and looking forward to people that we will have certainly in the future. This is a show. My name is Chad Longworth. This is Sunday Swings Live. This is a show that I try to do every week. I try to get like-minded people on to share good ideas throughout the player development community. This is for players and coaches alike who are looking to better themselves, to improve their craft, to improve their game, and just take an open-minded approach and share good ideas. Certainly that it has morphed into an interview show, which I'm really happy about. I'm glad that we can go back and forth on topics, but tonight's a good night because we'll have our first player, and quite an impressive player at that. Brent Rooker. If you haven't followed him, he has what's the main topic tonight? Brent Rooker is the guest tonight, so we'll talk to Brent. We'll talk about Brent's journey as a player and just his transformation as a player, from the recruiting process in high school to his journey at Mississippi State to where he is now. This should be really good. So we'll give it a couple more minutes, 1 or 2 more minutes, let people roll in here. Again, if you're watching on Periscope or Facebook, make sure you share and retweet the show. This is going to be a good show. All right, well, we'll give him a buzz, see if hopefully he'll pick up, and then we will be going. Sound okay? Is the sound okay? Can everybody hear me? Periscope, can you hear me? Just somebody comment quickly. Instagram, can you hear me? Somebody comment quickly that the sound is okay, and we'll be going. Sound is good on Periscope. Somebody on Instagram, sound is good on Instagram. All right, here we go. Let's call. Shoot. Here we go. Hopefully we can hear.
Hello.
Brent,
What's up?
this is Chad Longworth. How are you?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my man. Thanks for coming on tonight. Taking the time to talk to the community, and everybody's been talking about it. Looking forward to it. I haven't Of course, we've been back and forth a couple weeks with your schedule, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally got it worked out to where you could come on for 30 or 40 minutes and talk to everyone just about from a player perspective. Brent, I don't know if you've watched the show before, but I try to have on coaches, trainers, people that I think have a good voice in the community to share ideas and influence the baseball playing community in a good way. So certainly your perspective is a little different than theirs because you're a player. So I'm excited to get that going. For the 0 people watching this show that don't know who you are, Brent Rooker, SEC Player of the Year, All-American, 35th pick in the draft this year, led the conference in pretty much every major offensive category that you can think of. His accolades as a player go deep. I mean, you had a very impressive season, Brent. I'm sure you've been told that 1,000 times, but I'll tell it to you again. So here, Brent, here's where I want to start, and I will give this to you to go with, but I want to start from basically. I want to start basically from the recruiting process in high school, kind of your process there that landed you at Mississippi State, and then we'll take the conversation from there.
Okay.
So talk about that.
Yeah. Well, in high school originally, kind of sophomore year, early into my junior year. Initially, I wanted to try to play football in college, so I kind of thought that's what I was going to try to do. I thought that's the path I was going to take. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just, at that point in my life, I loved football more than I loved baseball, and I thought that's the thing I wanted to pursue. And then as I continued to mature and develop, I continued to get better and better at baseball, and kind of started getting some looks for some bigger programs like Mississippi State, like Tennessee, schools like that. So Mississippi State brought me on a visit my junior year towards the end of baseball season, and they made an offer, and I committed, a couple weeks later. Lane Burroughs is the one who initially recruited me. He is the head coach at Louisiana Tech now. He went from Mississippi State to Northwestern State in Louisiana, did a really good job there, and got the job at Louisiana Tech. So he was the guy that recruited me at Mississippi State. And then Coach Thompson kind of took over the recruitment after he left, who is obviously Bush Thompson's now the head coach at Auburn now. So he's doing a really good job. And I committed. I was one of the first guys in our recruiting class to commit in my junior year, so I was kind of committed a little bit early. But I just when I went on a visit to Mississippi State, I felt comfortable there. I felt like it was where I was supposed to be. So I was ready to make that decision, and it turned out to be a really good decision. I enjoyed my time there.
For sure. So you go there as a freshman, you redshirt. Talk about that briefly. I mean, the decision to redshirt. I've seen where you said maybe it was the best thing. Maybe you were talking to Bleeker one day and just said that the decision to redshirt was maybe the best thing you did for your career at the time.
Yeah, it was huge. I went in. It was kind of just an athlete with a little bit of ability, but wasn't real polished yet. Coming from a smaller private school in Tennessee, the competition level I saw in high school maybe wasn't as good as consistently as some of the other guys coming in. And, honestly, I wasn't ready to contribute at the level as high as the SEC. I had a lot of work to do. I had a lot of physical development to go through. I had a lot of things to learn, a lot of mental development that needed to take place. So the decision to redshirt and just kind of hang around guys that spring, be in the dugout during every game and not necessarily having the pressure of having to perform, but being able to be in the dugout, being able to hang around guys who had been in the league for a while, who had some success in the league, and just try to soak up as much information from those guys as I could. To just try to learn as much as I could during the course of that spring. Take some time to work on my own, kind of work on things that I needed to improve on my own time. And then I just kind of take the time to spend 3 or 4 months in the weight room, just getting bigger and stronger and faster and developing physically. And the combination of just being able to work on my skill set, on my own with some great coaches and learning a lot from upperclassmen who have been in the league for a while and then developing physically. That kind of it made me take a big step in my career and kind of put me in a position where I was ready to compete at the higher levels.
For sure. So I'm gonna go off path from what I had. What I was going to talk about next to diverge here. You talk about the weight room, Brent, and you talk about your development in the weight room and through the weight room, and I think it's something that players hear a lot, but they don't. They often go in there maybe without a clear plan, without a clear objective of what they're trying to accomplish. Talk about just your overall. During that time and continuing on certainly through your career at Mississippi State, just your overall development in the weight room. Talk about that briefly.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to, at Mississippi State, our strength coach is Brian Neal, who I think is the best guy in the country at his job. He does a phenomenal job working with players. He does a phenomenal job developing players from a physical standpoint, as well as from a when you get to college, a lot of times, mentally and emotionally, you're still immature, you're still a kid. He does a phenomenal job, along with developing guys physically in the weight room, of helping guys grow up and helping guys get to a place mentally where, they're ready to compete and they're ready to lead. So I was fortunate enough to work with him all 4 years at Mississippi State. That first spring was probably the biggest jump I made. I think I came in that fall at probably 190 pounds out of high school, and then I left, that following spring to go play summer ball at probably 210, a little more than 210. So, he throughout my course there, my 60 time dropped. I got faster. I was able to put on 15 to 20 pounds of muscle that I've maintained. And it's just, baseball, it's a physically demanding game, and the bigger, the stronger, the faster you are, the more advantages you're going to have. It's in any sport you play. It never can be a bad thing to get stronger and get in the weight room and get after it. So I enjoy working out. I do it consistently now. Even in pro ball, playing every day, find a way to get in the weight room 2 to 3 times a week in the season at least, and just try to continue to develop physically, continue to get stronger, keep your body healthy is a huge part of it.
No question. So Brent, you go from that redshirt year into your sophomore season. You didn't have a great year, but I think you did some good things that you could see moving forward in your junior year, that things really took off for you in that junior season. Certainly. Talk a little bit about your evolution during that time and what maybe the biggest adjustment was for you as a hitter during that time of, I went from a red shirt, okay, so now I'm getting some playing time. I'm not having a lot of success, but you can see things are starting to turn for you, and then in your junior year, things really start going well for you.
Yeah, so my redshirt freshman year, which was 2015. I played sparingly. I think I had, 70, 80 at-bats, somewhere around there. And that was just kind of the first, experience I had in the SEC, just kind of getting my feet wet against that caliber of competition, that caliber of pitching. And I had some times where I swung it pretty well, and I had some times where I didn't swing it very well. It was just kind of, an inconsistent year for me. We still had some guys who were kind of ahead of me on the pecking order on the depth chart. So I didn't get to play as much as I like. I would have liked to have, but I did some good things. I was able to develop a little bit and just kind of having that experience, playing in the SEC on a Friday night against that kind of arm, and then, doing it again the next week and playing on Saturday and Sunday against these really, really elite, prospect arms is something that's going to help you develop, for sure. And that's what that year kind of was for me is, I took the redshirt year to try to learn a lot. And then that redshirt freshman year, it was kind of, okay, this is what this is. I know what this looks like now. I know what I have to be able to do in order to have success here. And, I went to summer ball after my redshirt freshman year in the New England League and had a really, really good summer. And that's just kind of when I started to make the biggest strides. That's kind of when I started to learn, what pitchers were going to try to do, how I needed to combat that, what I needed to do to try to beat them and compete with the best guys in that league. And it was just kind of throughout that course of that year, I took some some really big steps to put myself in a position to, eventually start every day, get to play every day my redshirt sophomore year and put up some pretty good numbers.
For sure. So we go from that redshirt sophomore year. You go into the Cape, and things from there really. I mean, you go in the 38th round after that redshirt sophomore year, and then you go into the 2017 season, and things just explode for you. Talk about your swing evolution. You could see some real adjustments in what you were trying to do, I think, this past season that allowed you to just have a monster slugging, OPS. I mean, all the major statistical run scoring categories. I mean, you pretty much led the nation in all of them. So talk about the whole evolution. Now you've gotten in the weight room, you've gotten stronger, you've gotten experience, you've gotten, you're starting to see success. You're going through it. You're figuring things out, and now you go into 2017, and it comes together for you. I mean, it all kind of comes full circle into all the work that you had put in. Talk about your approach in the 2017 versus 2016. Was it the just a continuing evolution, or was there a conscious adjustment maybe to get the ball in the air more? What was the adjustment, or what was the evolution in 2000? I won't say adjustment because you didn't come off of a bad year. You just continue to build upon what you've done previously.
Yeah, it was a couple things. It was having that full year playing in the SEC. Getting 200, 250 at bats in that league, and again, constantly learning, constantly, trying to make adjustments, constantly getting experience against really good arms, and then going to the Cape and having another 150 at bats against, top prospect arms, and just kind of continuing to make small steps as far as my approach goes, as far as what I'm trying to do at the plate goes, as far as pitch recognition goes, learning, what I'm trying to do and what counts, what pitcher's going to try to do to me and what counts, and like I said, what I have to do to be able to combat that and be able to beat them. And then after the Cape, there was some pretty subconscious efforts to make a few changes to my swing. I would watch film of the best hitters in the world, the best hitters in the big leagues, and then watch film of me and see things that that they do differently than I did. So I figured, if these guys are having all the success they're having, and they're all doing these things that they have in common, there's probably some truth to that. And I need to work to make my swing look as much like theirs as I can. So I'm obviously privileged to work with some really great guys. We had phenomenal hitting coaches at Mississippi State. Will Coggin was a guy who I worked with a lot when he was our hitting coach there. And then Coach Cohen did a great job with hitters, kind of from a mental standpoint. And Coach Canizero came in, and he added a few things, and we worked through some things. And then the guy who made the biggest difference for me was the guy who's not my agent, Hunter Bledsoe. I think he is the best hitting mind in the country, without a doubt for me. And we worked on a lot of stuff, just kind of like what I talked about, trying to match what the best guys in the world do, and try to not imitate them, but learn from them and learn what they're doing, and then try to apply that to my swing and try to get the most efficiency out of my swing as I can, and try to get the most adjustability out of my swing as possible, and try to get the most power out of my swing as possible. And that's, when some of those principles that we talked about really started to click, that's when I saw the jump start to take place. That's when I was able to have more success on a wider variety of pitches, to be able to take not just where my redshirt sophomore year, if it's going to be a fastball going to the middle of the plate, I was going to be able to do damage on it. But now I can take, a wider variety of pitches and be able to drive them places. I was able to store my energy in a different place, which allowed me to make later decisions, which allowed me to lay off breaking balls in the dirt, and allowed me to be on time to more fastballs. So it was kind of when I started to make those conscious decisions to follow this guideline of principles to try to match the best players in the world. That's kind of when I started to take off, and I saw the jump start to take place.
So for sure. So I know Hunter also, and Hunter's got a big influence on myself and where I am today, where I'm today as an instructor and a coach. Also, I've spent a lot of time around Hunter. So for those people who don't know Hunter, Brent's exactly right. He's in my opinion, he's the best swing movement guy in the country that not a lot of people know about, but a lot of people are going to know about. More and more people are going to know about because his name's going to start coming up a lot more. So for the people who haven't spent much time around Hunter, the first time you get around Hunter and he starts talking, Brent, does one of your eyebrows go up like, what in the world is this guy talking about? But you go with it and you say, okay, I'm going to trust that this guy obviously knows what he's talking about, and I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's so smart and knows so much stuff that, quite frankly, that most people don't know about. You know, about the body, about the kinetic chain, about anatomy, about physiology, about just the way the body works, and how it's designed to work. So that, you know, the first time you hear him talk, it's a lot like a lesson in school, just kind of learning about a whole different set of ideas that you really had never thought about. I remember the first time I went to hit with him. I think we spent probably two hours in a cage, maybe a little more, and I think I swung the bat 3 times.
Yep.
It was just a bunch of movement prep, a bunch of learning what I'm trying to do with my body to put myself in the best position, you know, to be able to launch the barrel, to be on play and that kind of thing. So it's an eye-opening experience. It's a lot of stuff that I had never heard before, but you know, when you really break it down and you look at it, you know, from an objective perspective, that it really is. It's what the best players in the world do. It's what the best hitters in the world all have in common, and it's what we ultimately should try to be doing to be able to reach our full potential.
No question. I was hoping you were going to bring him up because he is really, really spectacular. I think for the people who don't know Hunter, I know that you can see Hunter at Pitchapalooza in Nashville in December. I don't know if Hunter does a whole lot of other clinic type things, but if you're interested in seeing Hunter and listening to Hunter, I'm pretty sure he's at Pitchapalooza with Lance Wheeler every winter. So you can catch him. He's really good. He's not very active on social media, so you're not going to catch a whole lot of Hunter Bledsoe swing theory on there, but you know, if you follow me, and certainly a lot of the stuff that comes out of my mouth is certainly regurgitation of stuff that I've picked up and learned from Hunter. So talk about Brent. Talk about this past season, obviously fantastic. You got to be proud of that. You go from the 38th round to the 35th pick. Now you're in professional baseball, and you land yourself in Elizabethton, Tennessee, right here in my back door. You know, talk about just the day-to-day life in minor league baseball now, and how you're keeping it on track mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that. Certainly, playing on the weekends in the SEC against elite arms helps you with the competition level, but certainly the day-to-day nature of professional baseball is certainly something you have to get acclimated to.
Yeah, it's a completely different experience than college is. You know, in college you'll play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you'll have Monday off. You'll play Tuesday, then you'll have 2 days off, and you'll play again on Friday. And here, you know, there's nothing. There's no off days that you play every single day, and it's a lot more structured to the individual in terms that, you know, what you do pregame to get yourself ready to play is not regimented. It's not structured like excuse me, like it was in college. Where in college, you know, you have your daily schedule every day of, you know, you're doing this at this time, and then this at this time, and then you've got hitting, and then you've got stretch or whatever. Where in pro ball, you know, it's pretty much you show up to the field at report time and do what you need to do to be ready to play. That's going to include on-field BP, obviously, most of the time. But besides that, you know, you're on your own. You do your early hitting, you know, as you want, as much as you want, when you want, you know, as little as you want, whatever. So it's very much you have to learn yourself. You have to learn what you need. You have to learn what your body needs to be ready to perform every day, and you've got to master that routine and able to put yourself in the best position and to succeed every day.
Yeah, I was in Charlotte this past weekend talking to one of the guys, and we were just talking about how important that routine is. You know, you take a guy like Pujols, who literally, I think, drove the same way to the park at the same time, eating the same things, doing the same routine every day in St. Louis for like 10 years. So that every day, knowing what you got to do to get yourself ready to play in pro ball is certainly important. So if you don't mind, I want to switch gears for just a minute. I know being a Southern guy, you've got some hot takes on Mississippi State football this year. You want to talk about the Bulldogs and their outlook for the season, or your hopes for the season?
Yeah, from what I understand, I wasn't able to watch the game yesterday because we were playing. But from what I understand, it looked pretty good. I think the defense played real well. I saw some tweets and, read a couple articles that said the defensive line looked really good, which is always promising. I know that we've got a good young group of linebackers and defensive backs who are now mainly freshmen and sophomores, I think, who are very, very talented and kind of look to be like they're going to be able to do some really good things. And obviously, Nick Fitzgerald is definitely the leader on offense. He had a phenomenal year last year, so I think this team goes as far as he can take us, which obviously, as from an athletic ability standpoint, he's probably one of the best athletes in the SEC to be as big as he is and run as well as he does. He can run Dan Mullen's offense really well and really effectively with the type of athlete he is. Kind of fits perfectly to the scheme that Coach Mullen likes to run. So I think we go as far as he can take us. But I think a lot of people are kind of underestimating us in the West, and I think we've got the talent to maybe make a push and pull a couple upsets and maybe make a little noise.
For sure. I think growing up in the South, and Connor Dawson and I talked about this last week, I would be remiss to say that I'm maybe a bigger football fan than I am a baseball fan. Baseball is certainly my passion and what I love to do, but sitting down on a Saturday afternoon my entire life watching the Southeastern Conference football it just kind of is a rite of passage in the South. So everybody in the South's got an opinion about SEC football for sure. Of course, my allegiance is to Florida, so we took an L yesterday, and again, it's the offense is not going in the right direction. It seems. Hopefully, we can get that turned around and get the offense going in the right direction, and the Gators will have some success. Of course, they backed their way into a couple of SEC championships in the East, so we'll see. It's a long year.
Yeah, the East is wide open again, so
Yep.
Florida's got a pretty good chance to win the
Yep.
East again.
Yep. The West is, of course, you've always got Alabama sitting there, but LSU is going to be interesting and see what they can do on offense, and then Auburn with Stidham at quarterback is going to be certainly interesting, and we shall see, I suppose, as we say. Brent, so is there anything else so what is the one, so if you could give one piece of advice to young players looking to find their way, what would you tell them? What would you tell them? Just if you could sit down and say, look, man, because I think from your narrative, I think from your narrative, what I would take from it is just be patient. Just be patient, because it doesn't happen overnight. You've got to be patient. You've got to work really hard and put the time into it, but with the expectation of it's going to take some time to unfold the way it needs to unfold. What would you say to young players about your journey?
Yeah, just like you said, it's, you hear the term all the time, just kind of trust the process and don't get caught up in results, but kind of know where your goals are, know where you want to go, and then just kind of trust the process that it takes to get there. It can be a long journey, it can be a long road, but in the end, it's worth it. I'd say just try to learn as much as you can. In 2017, the age of technology, there's so much information out there to be had, to be learned, that all you have to do is go look. There's obviously guys on social media that put out great information, like yourself, like you mentioned, Dallas Connor Dawson does a great job. Ryan Parker does an outstanding job. Just kind of guys like that, who are constantly, they're trying to learn, they're trying to put out the best information as possible because they want to help young players develop and young players get better. So just kind of surround yourself with people, who are looking to learn, and then try to learn as much information as you can. Try to soak up everything you can from guys who have spent more time in the game than you have, who have spent more time trying to learn than you have, guys who have the ability and the means to give you more information. Just kind of surround yourself with those guys and take that information and apply it to yourself, and then just trust the process, work hard to get where you want to go, and understand that it's not going to be immediate results, but you've got to take time to develop, you've got to take time to improve on things and to get better, and then eventually, if you put enough time in, you can become the player you want to be, and you can hopefully reach your full potential.
For sure, man. So I really, really appreciate you, and I know everybody that follows me really, really appreciates you coming on and giving us some perspective from a player's viewpoint, especially a player of your caliber that I know a lot of people look up to. So I do appreciate that. Brent, take 1 minute, and you don't tweet a lot, but take a minute and just tell people where they can find you on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter, it's just at Brent_Rooker19. It's the same for Instagram. I don't really tweet. I look at my Twitter timeline right now. I don't really tweet a lot of hitting stuff. I kind of just tweet things that I think are funny.
Yeah.
But, I'm a good follow, I'd say. So if you want to go follow Brent_Rooker19, that's on Twitter and Instagram. I do the best I can to put out some good content every now and then.
For sure, you're kind of busy. You're kind of busy with doing this baseball thing. We'll get your shirts in the mail this week, so I'll get those down to you. And I appreciate you coming on, Brent. And best of luck, man. Best of luck down the road. Hopefully we can cross paths, maybe in Nashville through Hunter. And I would love to put a face and just shake your hand and say hello. So best of luck, man. Whatever the rest of your season holds, and in through the fall, and then through the off season, the winter, man. Good luck, and keep plugging away. I played minor league baseball, and I know what it's like to do what you're doing. So I know, man, you need support, and know that people are out there rooting for you, dude. So good luck.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yep. Brent Rooker, everybody. Thanks, Brent. Brent Rooker. Man, that was awesome. If you've got questions, you can fire them away. But that was really, really good. If you missed it, if you missed the beginning, you can go back and rewatch the Periscope. Again, this will post on Twitter or on YouTube on about Wednesday. I usually post the follow-up show on Wednesday. It's available on Periscope for 24 hours. So if you missed it or if you missed the beginning, you can go back and watch it. Are there any questions? Are there any questions about anything that I can maybe help you with that Brent talked about? But that was really, really fantastic. That's a journey. That is a journey for players that are looking for a role model, or looking for somebody that you can look up to. That journey is so good. I mean, he went from a pretty highly recruited player, certainly, to an SEC school, to a red shirt, to just a mediocre sophomore season, red shirt freshman season, and then things just, if you just continue to work and you just continue to put in the work, and really Brent's thing in the weight room is so true. You've got to get stronger. You've got to have a plan, and I'm not talking about going in the weight room and just pumping out your bicep curls and calling it a day. Like your posterior chain has to get stronger. Bench, squat, deadlift. Certainly bench is not part of the posterior chain, but your squat and your deadlift, you need to be able to deadlift 2 times your body weight at least. Your squat needs to go through the ceiling. And bench doesn't have a lot of people say, well, bench doesn't have a whole lot of specific use for a baseball player, but it is a good parameter to measure overall strength, and so we use it. We use pull-ups, we use bench press, we use deadlifts, we use squats. We use those things to measure progress. It's the same thing as exit velocity. We use those things just that we can measure where we are and where we're going, because this is something that I say a lot of the guys that we train today. It doesn't matter where you are in relationship to another player. All that matters is where you are today, and it's better tomorrow, and then it's better the next day. And I think if you follow Brent and you listen to this and you follow Brent's story, you can really learn that just that day after day improvement pays off. It pays off in the end if you stick to a plan. I think trust the process gets overused a lot, because the people that say trust the process don't really have a process. But if you just have a plan, that is the one thing that I wanted to do with the player development program that I offer year access to, is just, here's a plan. Let's work together on this plan, but here is a roadmap. You're going to get stronger. You're going to swing harder. You're going to hopefully develop as a hitter. And this is just a framework. Let's work on it. Let's move forward. And let me help you put one foot in front of the other every single day. It's not a shortcut. It's not a magic formula. It's not a magic pill. It just is a framework, and it is an actual process to follow that I want to work with you on. So hopefully, if you're not in that program, you'll get in that program. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Moving on. If there are no questions, I'm going to end it there, because it was really, really good. If you don't follow me, go check out my Snapchat, C Long Baseball. My Sunday swings are on there. I post, weekly, the best of StatCast home runs on Snapchat. That's just kind of to that platform. I've been posting some of my people all day on Twitter. Sunday swings on Twitter, my own people that I train of all ages, 9, 12, college guys, JUCO guys, D1 guys, some D2 guys. Like, I've been posting a lot of my own guys today, just to show you that you can swing a bat. And Brent said this, like the best player. You can train to swing the bat like the best players in the world, and that's the way you should train. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Snapchat. It's all C Long Baseball, and I will catch you next week. Thank you for watching.